All right, guys. Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share button. Get involved in the chat. If you're over on Chad Prather Rumble, that's where I want you to do your chatting. Make sure that you, if you want to have your super chat read later on, you got to do a super chat. You got to do the super chat. We'll read it later on at the end of the show. Ooh, a deep breath, guys. I've been reading while you guys are getting adjusted here. I want to just kind of talk to you for a minute. I've been reading a post from a guy that I like to read his books. His name is Vishal Mangalwadi. Probably butchering that name. And I kind of typed out a summary of something that he posted over on social media today, talking about the concept of empires versus nations and how it plays out in terms of how we interpret what's going on right now with Ukraine, and specifically how Donald Trump is interpreting things versus, let's say, how Putin or Zelenskyy is. So we have this war in Ukraine, and I won't be so stupid as to give you the whole deal like a fifth grader like Kamala Harris did once. So Ukraine is a country. It's right next to another country called Russia. You guys are smarter than that. But we have this war in Ukraine. It's led to an estimated 1 million lives lost, possibly more than that. It's displaced probably 10 million people. And it's going to take time to honestly fully understand the economic impact of this. But we can see this. I think we can all agree on this. The winner in all of this is the arms industry, along with all of its investors, all of its political supporters, and the main beneficiary of this conflict, it's the arms dealers. The liberal leaders out there, they justify this war by claiming that Ukraine's sovereignty needs to be defended. But why is that? Why is that the case? Because as far as I know, liberals in this day and age, they've never really put value on the concept of being a nation. Like, they certainly don't care about America being a nation. If they did, they'd care about our borders. I mean, why don't they prioritize our own national borders? So I'm reading this stuff, and since World War II, there's a whole lot of Western liberals in Europe and America. They've dismissed this idea that nations are sacred because, let me tell you why nations are sacred, because God ordained them to be sacred. If you read in the book of Acts chapter 17, verse 26 and 27, the Apostle Paul, he talks about how God made all nations and established their boundaries for a reason. Now, if you move up to the time of Alexander the Great, Europe, once it was conquered by Greece, it became tied to empires, that's what leads to war through the forceful takeover of land. That's imperialism. Both the Catholic and the Orthodox churches, their teachings focus more on Christendom than on nation states. And even during the communist era, the sacredness of borders was ignored in Russia and places like Ukraine. So the concept of nation, as understood, like, for instance, in the Bible, became more recognized in Europe during the Protestant Reformation through the treaties like the Peace of Westphalia in 1648. Countries like the Netherlands and Switzerland, I don't know, little point of trivia, those are the oldest nations in Europe. They were the first nations in Europe, Netherlands and Switzerland. The 13 American colonies, for instance, they followed suit by forming the United States, which was a unified nation rather than separate kingdoms being brought together. Well, then you got President Franklin Roosevelt, who pushed for this idea, biblical idea, let me remind you, of a nation during World War II by insisting that the British Empire has got to be dismantled. And so that led to the colonies of the British Empire gaining independence, and it led to the formation of the United Nations, which was founded on a concept of nations, not empires. However, if you look back at your history, liberals started attacking that idea, and particularly in response to like fascist nationalism of Nazi Germany, which had caused 2 world wars. But they failed to understand that the fascists were distorting the idea of nationalism for the imperial ambitions. So what you had was nations were being established, and then there were the dictators like Hitler who were trying to bring empires back into place. So after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, these same liberals suddenly act like they care about the sanctity of national borders. So you have to ask yourself, when President Trump comes along, who asks why American taxpayers should defend Ukraine's borders when European nations are now acknowledging their importance. We ought to wonder why the Biden administration, when they were funding Ukraine, if the goal was to defeat Putin, why didn't he push for a stronger resolution in the UN? I'll tell you why. Because more funding was about keeping the arms industry profitable than truly ending the conflict and bringing peace. So whether Trump truly believes in the sanctity of national borders, obviously he believes in our borders, but he hasn't shown that he cares too much about places like Greenland and Canada and stuff like that. I like the fact, I like this idea that we have a president now who's not interested in empires, but nations with borders. And whether it's Putin or Zelenskyy, they are both still thinking of things imperialistically, like an empire. So again, folks, what's going on in our world? I'll tell you in a simple statement. The only people in America that are profiting for this whole deal is the arms people, the people who are producing the guns, the people who are investing in the guns, the people who are benefiting from the guns. You understand what I'm saying? This is a bad deal. Thank God Donald Trump is pushing away from that and saying the arms manufacturer may suffer in all of this stuff, but ultimately it's not about profitability, it's about peace. But see, there's two different mindsets. Two different mindsets. You want to end the Ukraine war? You have a couple of options. Ukraine can continue fighting with support from European liberals and American Democrats, or they can just choose a new leader that's willing to negotiate peace with Russia. Zelensky's not willing to do that because he's into empire building. Now, in the long run, the church here in America, we need to have a biblical understanding of nationhood and how important God ordains borders. But the rest of the world, they don't look at that. They don't look at it like that. So I encourage you guys to do a little study on your own and see what's up. We're trying to push a biblical worldview here, man. There's some values here, and these guys are dead set on killing each other. All right, enough about all of that stuff. I'm sorry if I waxed too long. Before I go any further, let me tell you about our friends over at Birch Gold. I want you to text Chad to 989898. You've heard me talk about it so many times, and it's so important because you have a future, and that future needs to be taken care of financially. If you have an old 401k that's not doing anything, let them convert that to an IRA backed by real gold. Gold has always kept its value throughout the history of man, and Birch Gold can help you make sure your retirement is backed by true gold. Text Chad to the phone number, 989898. They made it so simple, they'll send you a free, no-obligation information kit. You can talk to them on the phone. They're very educated, very helpful, very easy to deal with, and they will walk you through all of the pros of making sure that your future is invested in gold. So talk to them. All of you have a future. We all have a future, folks. If World War III doesn't end it tomorrow, we all have a future. So text Chad and secure it. Text Chad to 989898. All right, without further ado, Party Foul Steve is in the house. Party Foul Steve, what's up, baby?
I thought you were going to do the show without me today.
Yeah, I know.
You just kept going on and on and on with this history lesson.
It's a history lesson, but people need to think about this stuff because you have nation builders and empire builders. And the arms industry, they like empire builders. And they will continue to fund that. That's who's going to profit out of this whole deal. Speaking of a guy that likes to profit out of shooting things, America's favorite redneck, I texted him. I said, jump on the show. Hot Seat Todd's back. There he is. Booyah. Pow, pow.
Yeah, and to caveat, because I don't read, so, I don't,
Well, you should join my book club then.
Yeah, I know. I don't read, but there's no money in peace. Lockheed Martin, Boeing, General Dynamics, RTS, Northrop Grumman, Smith & Wesson, those guys don't make money off peace. So they want Ukraine to keep doing it. They want Ukraine to become a part of NATO because then tanks, ships, bullets, guns, all that stuff. Huge contract, huge dollar bills, y'all. And honestly, the redneck doesn't have to read to understand that. So
no, they don't. And again, go ahead, Steve.
We're kind of damned if we do and damned if we don't, get involved. And so I got mixed feelings about it.
Well, someone sent me a message on Facebook just this morning and started talking about, because I made the comment that by getting this mineral rights deal done, actually helps protect Ukraine. There's several things with this deal that would protect Ukraine from further invasion, but having Americans working there in Ukraine on these mining deals would be a deterrent from Vladimir Putin doing further attacks. I had someone who messaged me and said, well, what about the Anglo-Iran oil deal? What about Venezuela? What about Afghanistan, different things? And I said, none of those involved American interests that were being attacked by Russia. I'm not saying that those deals come easily or without some provocation from other rogue nations, but none of those were with Russia. And he said, do you want to risk that to have your children, our sons and daughters, going over to fight that war? Buddy, if it doesn't change, if something doesn't change, you got European warmongers and Democrats right here who don't value our nation's borders but value other nations' borders. They're more than happy to keep the war machine alive and make money off of the blood of our sons and daughters. That's a guarantee. They're willing to do that.
You know it's going off the rails when Lindsey Graham backs up and goes, nope, I'm out.
Yep.
You know it's going off the rails when that happens.
Yep. That's when it gets bad. And so rather than isolating Zelenskyy, you have these European nations, Keir Starmer, who comes out there and says, well, we're going to put boots on the ground. Brother, you ain't got the boots to put on the ground. You only have 72,000 people in uniform.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do with that?
The recruiting tactics?
In Ukraine?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's alarming. They're conscripting people. I mean, they're shanghaiing people off the street, basically kidnapping them off the street.
Well, you never know. Maybe Afghanistan and Iraq will send them some suicide bombers. I mean, maybe they'll fluff them
God
up.
forbid anything. But I'm saying with this whole thing, we see these videos of, they say it's Russian propaganda, but men with Down syndrome who are in these trenches. And
I don't mean to laugh, but
yeah, you do.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
You can't
the guy he dropped a whole mortar in the hole and killed them all. I don't know if it's real or not. I watch too much TikTok, and them guys, if they're fighting a war and they have time to TikTok, they ain't trying to fight the war.
That's the thing. Like every time I get on, every single oh my God, here we go.
I'm not joking.
No.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of thing. We're putting the clip up of this guy who's obviously he's holding a mortar round, right? And he's,
What is he holding?
or what is he holding there, Todd? And he's obviously has Down syndrome. And then, there's.
Well, no, that wasn't a mortar going off because it would have been a lot bigger.
Yeah, it would have been a lot bigger than that. Is that a grenade or something? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what he's holding.
And Vice President Vance actually said this to Zelenskyy, which I thought was audacious in the Oval Office for Zelenskyy to do what he did when he said, we see the videos of how you are recruiting. You're not recruiting. You're basically kidnapping troops to put on the front lines. You're sending people that shouldn't be on the front lines up there. And Zelenskyy says, so you have been to the Ukraine. And it's like, dude, you know what? I haven't been to Peter Piper's Pizza either, but I know there's snot-nosed kids in there. I know they got stale beer and bad pizza at Chuck E. Cheese, but I don't have to go in there to know that. It's pretty obvious. So it was pretty pompous ass move for Zelenskyy to kind of try to pigeonhole a guy that's been a senator, an attorney, a senator, and now the vice president of the United States, and say, well, you've never been there. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I got to agree with my boy Chris that's in the chat. It does look like an engineering charge, like an engineering shaped charge. That's what it looks like. But still, my question is, and maybe somebody smarter than me can shed some light on this. He's in the 6th year of his 5-year term, so no elections. 2 is when October 7th happened in Israel, okay, instant media coverage. Every time Palestine or Hamas did something in Israel and vice versa, instant media coverage. All right, if you are going to travel around the world begging world leaders for money because you're telling us that your country is being ravaged by Russia, why are you not allowing news to come report on it? Why are you not allowing anybody to show footage of this? Because I'm sorry, at this point, every time I turn on and flip on X, All I see is half-naked chicks partying in Ukraine. Like, that's all I can see.
Steve,
My understanding, he shut all the media down except
what I'm
for the
saying.
state media.
That's what I'm saying. Therefore, I don't believe nothing you have to say.
Nothing. Here's a guy
Nothing.
that canceled his elections, and I saw that as they were calling for an impeachment of Zelenskyy. Some of his parliament leaders were calling for an impeachment as soon as he left the Oval Office. We saw the clip of the ambassador from Ukraine to the U.S. with her head in her hands, just shaking her head as that was transpiring. Zelenskyy, and I know Zelensky's English is good, it ain't great, right? And so I've analyzed this conversation of where it went south to when he was saying what he was saying. Like, I was thinking, was this lost in translation? Were we being unreasonable here? I really don't think so. The dude was high on cocaine. Trust me, he was high on cocaine. Like that Saturday Night Live clip, Saturday night, you got to take a couple of beers, and if you get drowsy with the side effect, you got to get a little bump or whatever it was called. He'd been doing a few little bumps, and I got a pass, as you know. That's all I ever say is I got a pass, and I can recognize certain things. And he was tuned up. So Trump, I thought, handled it well. I hate that it was done in front of the mainstream media, but
I'm glad it was.
I mean, I wish that those kind of things were done back behind the closed doors. But if we're going to have a transparent administration, the jury's still out based on Bindergate from my experience this past week. I don't know how transparent we're truly going to be. These things have been going on throughout our nation's history of conflicts of trying to come to an agreement, but usually it's behind closed doors.
Yeah, I don't think. Go ahead, Chad. Go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
If this is any indication of how Vance is going to be when he's president of the United States, I'm good with it.
I'm down with it. He
And
solidified his place as far as I'm concerned.
For sure.
Yep.
And talking about this conversation behind closed doors, I don't know if Hillbilly Elegy wouldn't have smoked him dead in the throat, like, for being that disrespectful. I'm just saying, like, he would have thrown some more colorful metaphors Zelensky's way, and that whole thing would have went different.
The day before this went down, I was in the room with J.D. Vance, spent some extended time with him. It was great. He's fantastic in person. He's very real, very down to earth. He's a lot skinnier than he looks on TV. He got a big old head, but he got, he's a lot skinnier. People try to portray him in the media as being, overweight. He's not overweight at all. He's a good dude, and he's like down to earth. He's like, sitting around here like us, just kind of talking, but he's extremely intelligent. And this is such a massive upgrade than what we had with Mike Pence. I mean, a massive upgrade.
Yeah.
Pence was nothing. He was a suit. I mean, that was all he was. And I appreciate the fact that
100%.
Basically they just traded off. I thought for a while they were going to play good cop, bad cop, and then it just became bad cop all the way around. and they both just slapped him and just were double teaming the guy. And I look at him, and he knew when he was done. But he then went on with Brett Baer that night. He refused to apologize. He is yet to do that. He thinks he's done no wrong in regards to this. You should have put on a tie. You should have shut your mouth. You should have signed the papers. You should have said thank you. And now you're running off like a little that's grabbing the cash off the nightstand as you're leaving the house to catch a Uber after your little hooking appointment and, all over Europe. I mean, it's disgusting what this guy is doing. He's pimping himself out at this point. Look at this guy right here. Look at that picture. They'll say it's Photoshop, but it's not. I had the cowboy hat on in the Oval Office.
I love it.
People were pissed. They're like, how dare you? I'm like, shut up. You know what? That's the thing about this administration, man. These dudes are just cool. They're just cool.
Don't think for 1 second I wouldn't wear an Alabama hat in the Oval Office.
You probably
Don't think
would.
for 1 second that wouldn't happen.
They were like, Chad just thinks he's a character. I am a character. I don't know what else you think I would be.
They ain't been paying attention to you.
I mean, my Lord, for 10 years, I've been a character. But you know what? They were extremely gracious. Everybody that we met with the other day, I don't like the way that Pam Bondi did us and I'm happy to answer questions about that. I've already answered all the questions. I probably just got myself in trouble on Stu Peters' show taping
I
with him. I
can't believe that book was big enough to hide your head.
It's a big book. And anybody that says it was full of empty pages are empty. It was not empty. It was just stuff I already had. I mean, it was stuff I already had. I got such a kick out of Trump, man. Trump goes, I want you to look. There's Ronald Reagan. I got Ronald Reagan on the wall. He goes, the desk, there's one of 7 desks. So a president gets to pick their desk. There's 7 desks for the Oval Office. They get to pick one. He said, unfortunately, this one belonged to Bush. And he goes, got Ronald Reagan hanging over here. And he goes, of course, George Washington's over the fireplace. He's got presidential pictures all around. And he said, should we put Ronald Reagan where Washington is? And we all said, no, you got to keep Washington there. And he goes, what if we put Trump? Did
you get to see the mugshot photo going
Oh, yeah,
in?
walked right past it, touched it with my hand, put my hand on it. It was amazing.
Yes.
But he said, when Biden was in the Oval Office, he only had one picture, and they asked him, who's it a picture of, who's a portrait? And he goes, I don't know. Because there's a vault. They have a vault where they can pull all of this stuff from. But this is an enemy of the state that I took pictures with right here. Donald Trump is an enemy of the state. If you don't believe me,
oh God, not this.
Jasmine Crockett. Jasmine Crockett. Oh, and can I say, go back to that picture real quick of me standing by the desk. Trump, I walked around there because when I walked in, I was the first one in, and he goes, are we going to do a group picture? Are we going to do individuals? I said, dude, let's do individual. He said, I think we should do individuals. I stood in that spot.
You influenced the president.
JD was on the other side of me. Vice President Vance was on the other side of me. I stood right there in that spot for about 15 minutes while he talked to the rest of the group.
Man,
so I'm investigating the desk. I'm looking
at
everything.
I'd have been going through everything.
And
hit the Coke button.
And Vance, he started to walk away, and I kind of grabbed him by his coattails, and I said, no, get in the picture. And he goes, do y'all want me in the picture? I was like, yeah, you got to get in the picture. So he did that. But I stood right there just kind of studying things. I almost knocked over the Gulf of America poster.
I'd have had my fingerprints on everything in the office. I'd have just been.
I elbowed the thing, and I've been with the president, but I've never been in the Oval Office. All right, Jasmine Crockett, she goes on the press, and she says that Donald Trump, she's so just dumb. Let's play the clip. Cry libs cry.
So,
CLC.
Unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House, and as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House because you don't believe that elections should take place. I don't really understand what is going on, and I don't know what it's going to take to get people to wake up.
Somebody said, do we have to keep giving Crockett airtime? I think we do. I think you have to, because she is a congresswoman from the state of Texas. We have to expose these people. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Is she taking over AOC? I mean, is she in the...
how vocal and how bombastic and how ignorant and airheaded and Humpty Dumpty they can be, they're going to do that, and it does give them more airtime, and of course they're going to be...
She is really quickly catching up to AOC in stupidity. Like
she's dumb.
She's really catching up with that rock with lips. Like,
well,
whew.
I said a year ago, she's making a play for dumbest congressperson, and she really is pretty bad. But yeah, this whole deal's ridiculous. To call him an enemy of the state, he's the only guy out there trying to get peace. He's the only guy that actually has a plan to get peace. Now, Trump says that tomorrow he's got the joint meeting with Congress, and he's got the State of the Union. We're going to be live for that, the Dear America crew. Meggie Moo 32, Megan, her on the subject. I told her, I said, it's during your airtime for your typical on the subject podcast. She's going to join us. We'll just have one big party. So it'll be an on the subject big stream for the live reaction of the State of the Union. Donald Trump said it's going to be big. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a bigger thing. It's going to be unbelievable. Please, my thing is we can't keep making these big over-the-top statements about transparency and what's on somebody's desk and all of this and then not give it out. I'm thinking he pulls out of NATO. I'm thinking
Maybe.
I want him
You know
to do
what,
something live while they
Just
read the
start
Epstein
reading. Yes,
list.
yes. Tom Hanks. I mean, first thing, don't even,
Don't
don't
say
even,
that.
don't even,
Don't
my
start
fellow,
saying names.
don't
Allegedly.
even, don't even come out, my fellow Americans. Just start.
I've seen the
reading
video.
names. I mean,
Yeah.
no, nothing. Just these list of names. Boom, 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 and just start reading names.
Yeah,
That
just
would be the
perp
greatest
walk
thing
them right in
ever.
front of the Senate. Just perp walk
Amen.
them.
Amen.
All right. Patriot Mobile's America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. You don't have to worry about dropping your calls. They use the same towers as the rest that are out there, the big three, the ones you keep giving them money to. And every time you pay your bill, they use a portion of your bill, your hard-earned money, to pay leftist causes, to keep them alive and well and to give them a voice. Stop. Go over to patriotmobile.com/Chad. And they'll give you a new number, they'll get you a new phone, they'll switch everything over, keep all the same stuff, whatever you need to do. You can get a free month if you use promo code Chad. They'll get free activation for our service members, active duty or veterans, and our first responders. They'll do that. You call them on the phone, 972-PATRIOT. You're going to get 100% U.S.-based customer service team that'll help you. Tell them Chad sent you, but go to their website and shop around. I guarantee you they got something that will fit your budget. PatriotMobile.com/Chad. Everybody needs to
La-di-da-di.
switch. What time is the State of the Union tomorrow? Is it 8 o'clock?
8 p.m.
Central?
Well, hopefully I'll still be alive because apparently my neck of the woods is going to be level 5 tornado.
What's up with
We'll
that?
see. I'm going to be live, and if anything, come check us out to see if I live. That'd be interesting. I'm sitting here, and then all
We'll
of a
dig
sudden-
you out.
Yeah. please.
Speaking of which, we were praying yesterday for the folks in those wildfires in South Carolina. I don't think any structures were harmed, which is a miracle. I think there was about 4,000 acres, which is a lot, but that's not like what was going on in Southern California. But still, those who battled the blaze, I saw people who said, "Where's Trump talking about the water?" Well, every video we saw, there was massive amounts of water
Yeah,
being
for
sprayed
real.
on the fire.
people are
That's the difference between South Carolina and Southern California in their bureaucracy. In South Carolina, I mean, it looks like an inferno, but South Carolina can handle themselves. Henry McMaster had it under control. Declared that state of emergency just as quick as he could, got stuff going.
Look at that water flowing.
But certainly praying for people on this deal. So here we are. Yeah, God bless you, South Carolina, and we pray for you too, Todd. We don't want you getting swept away. And y'all be praying for our buddy Tony Estrada,
Please,
Mexican Tony.
for
He's
sure.
going through a lot. He had the death in his family. He said thank you for the folks that sent him messages, but he's got some other things going on too. And man, it's just like when it rains, it pours, and that's happening right now. Back to Trump. They're wanting to basically uninvite Trump to the G7 summit in Western Canada. This is my buddy Jack Meat Singh. He demands Trump be uninvited. Play the clip. Say it.
Surefire
given
way
that we are
for
the
no one
host
to
of the
watch it.
G7 summit, and given that Donald Trump has threatened our very sovereignty, threatened our economic security, we should not invite Donald Trump to the G7. It doesn't make any sense to do so. As a host, we should work with other countries to develop a strategy on how we can resist the very dangerous ideas that Donald Trump's putting forward. And that should be the focus of the summit.
Well, let me tell you, Jagmeet, the focus of the meeting is going to be completely irrelevant because without Donald Trump there, you don't have a meeting.
Yeah, fat fella right there had an idea to die of loneliness.
It got caught in
he's
that bonnet he's wearing.
He's trying to look like Trump with that golden head.
Good Lord, man.
That looks like Ilhan Omar fell into money right there. Boy, I wonder if he married a sister. Yeah, that thing is gripping that head a little too tight, Jagmeet. But they become, seriously though, the G7 becomes completely irrelevant if you don't include America. If you don't include Donald Trump, if you don't bring Donald Trump to the this right here, this ought to tell you how much the rest of the world, and you know it, they truly hate America. They hate America. They really do. They hate Trump. They hate Trump because you know what? They want somebody like a Justin Trudeau who's going to come out and tell everyone how precious everything ought to be and how we're going to just dance around in the tulips and everyone is going to be happy and peaceful and free. Well, that ain't the way the world works, man. And some alpha comes along and they're, he's toxic, man. He's going to get us into World War III. Well, let me see if I can remember. So under George W. Bush, Russia invaded Georgia. Under Biden, they invaded not under Biden, under Obama, they invaded Crimea. And then under Biden, they invaded Ukraine. Who did they invade under Trump? Oh, literally no one.
Yeah.
Nobody. And let me tell you something. Everybody that says, well, we gotta keep, they want Russia to be the enemy so bad. They want, aside from their government, most of the people and the values of the people in Russia, they're very similar to the values that you have. They really are. Now, people say, oh, how dare you say something like that, because you've been taught your entire life, especially you Gen Xers, that they are our mortal enemies. But these are people who know their history. They know their independence. They know their nationhood. They know they know this stuff. Okay. They don't have the same kind of government we do. They don't have the same kind of freedoms we do, but still they share a lot of the same values. Now, that's not me being an apologist for Russia, but let me just say that we're going to have to deal with one of a couple of scenarios. We can go to battle with Russia, or we can make peace. Now, to the degree that we continue to alienate Russia, guess who they join a stronger ally with? That's going to be China. Because in the grand geopolitical scale of things right now, China is our legit biggest concern. They ought to be. Russia, in many ways, has been decimated by this effort in Ukraine, okay? They have been weakened very much militarily, as well as financially. China has not. China is strong. And if we don't handle this thing right, Russia falls into the arms of China. Russia and China don't generally like each other. They have a lot of battles over things like Siberia. They want to recognize each other. That's been a hotbed topic between these two nations for a long time. They're in Asia. There is a way to get Russia out of the tentacles of China. But if you keep down this road, we got a problem.
Mm-hmm. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right?
And
go something like that.
And Russia can't mount Zelenskyy said the other day, you have this big, beautiful ocean. Okay, that means this ain't a ground fight here with us and Russia if it comes down to that.
No.
They got to use the big bombs as quick as they can early on. So you're going to talk about much bigger initial destruction because they have been weakened in a big way. You shoot all the bullets, and then you pull out the bazookas. You shoot all the bazookas, then you pull out the missiles. Okay?
The leadership will be taken out first.
Yeah,
whoever does the first big move, it'll be the going after leadership.
Well, it's the scariest war imaginable. If anything kicks off between us and Russia, it's a push button war. It ain't never going to be boots on the ground, tanks on the ground. It ain't going to be. It's going to be a push button war. It's going to be drones, buttons, and bombs, and you don't want that.
And especially not over some 5 foot tall Napoleon complected coke sniffing dictator that cancels his own elections and used to dance around with his weenus in his panties, dancing around on reality TV on Ukrainian television,
and doesn't know whether to check his ass or scratch his watch.
Come on. So Trump is already talking about canceling the aid to Ukraine. He's meeting with aides today to talk about that. Not another penny. I love what Gunther Eagleman says in the comment right there. Yeah. Not another penny. This is from the New York Times. That is breaking from Eric Doherty. And so I'm going to play this next clip. We're going to play this on mute. It's always in the eyes. Basically, this woman, she does a little video of herself. And she's
office and fucking.
There he goes. Yeah, we got to mute her. It's always in the eyes, but basically it's a big old F you. If you don't stand with Ukraine, F you.
Mole.
This woman has a third eye. Looks like somebody.
I can't look at the eyes. I keep looking at.
Yeah, it looks like somebody hit her with a ball peen hammer right in her forehead. Like, baby, honey, maybe throw a Band-Aid over that before you attempt to go viral. I just don't understand the consumption of these people's minds of how passionately they feel about this whole deal, that they're going to put Ukraine and their interests over. Again, I go back to my long diatribe at the beginning. They don't care about nations. They don't care about nations. It's about virtue signaling. They don't care about America as a nation. They don't care about American borders. They don't.
Not at all.
And yet you're gonna do this, the F-bombs with your wild-eyed craziness, talking about Ukraine. It's like the dude that was crying. David's not on camera, but David's clicking the button. See if you could pull that guy. We didn't play it this morning.
Please show that guy.
Yeah, the guy that if you're a grown man and you decide after watching the news or anything going on in the world to turn your video camera on and put it in your face and start crying in front of it, this is why we got to bring back bullying. That should have been beat off of you in recess in 7th grade.
Long time ago.
Yes, this guy, there's a F-bomb in here at some point. I don't even know if we need to listen to it. Everybody's seen it. But this guy's literally crying.
There it is. Look
what
at
happened in
that
the Oval
face.
Office.
My
Dude,
Lord.
he's rubbing jalapenos in his face. This is for attention.
It's all for attention, there's no doubt. But who does this?
Yeah, really. Who films it? You know, I mean, good Lord.
He does.
That's not even a beta male. That's like a zeta.
You're down you are down
way
there.
down
you
there.
are down there, down the list.
I bet his wife beats him every day.
Somebody needs to beat him every day, crying out loud. So,
Lord.
you know.
Or boyfriend, whichever.
Well, mission accomplished. I was hoping when I saw it was satire. But there's some stretched out people, man, and maybe they are just paid actors. I don't know. I know that when Dirty Dick Durbin came out there, and he was immediately after that meeting. I mean, there was like within an hour some big protest going on in the streets of Chicago, and I'm like, where do these pop-up protesters come from? Like, there's supposed to be a Mardi Gras parade that's going to go through my neighborhood today at like 4 or 5 o'clock. I ain't walking out the door for that crap.
You ain't lying, man.
You know, these people going around dancing around and booley-boo, whatever they're talking about. I ain't leaving the house for that. And these people out there, suddenly they have Ukrainian flags on hand. Oh, hey, honey, it's a Ukraine. We're doing a march. Go pull out the flags.
I have a question. When have you ever been in a Walmart or a Target and seen a Ukrainian flag on the shelf? Where the hell you get these things from?
I ain't got them. I mean, I got some
You
American
have to go
flags
hunt
around
for 'em,
here.
I guess.
You know, I got some American flags that I attach to my truck every now and then when I want to truly redneck it up around the 4th of July. But I got to go look for them. Like, I know where they're put up. I don't just have flags on hand to just snatch them off the shelf and run out there and be Slava Ukraine.
Buy a Ukrainian flag. Like,
I mean, Amazon.
I mean, obvious, other than Amazon, but it's like you said, these are pop-up protests. You know, these folks just popping up and saying, hey, folks, let's get together. Where's the Ukrainian
Somebody's
flag
funded
store?
it. They've already have boxes full of flags. They're ready to go wherever they need them.
Look at Steve with the common sense.
There you go. Well, I guess. I mean, shit, I ain't think of looking at Amazon for Ukrainian flags, I guess.
Or you get on Temu. You get on Temu and let the Chinese made flags. And they're all made in Taiwan anyway.
Don't think I can't find a bottle of whiskey if I need a party to pop up.
Well, it's like when I went to the Me Too rally for the first time. I didn't know I didn't know what they stood for, but I was like, there's a lot of women there, so I went. But I didn't have a pink hat. I got one now, though. Like, if that party pops up again,
you're ready.
Chatty Daddy is ready. All right. I tweeted this. There was an attack. There was obviously a terrorist attack. This is what open borders will get you, folks. This is what open borders will get you if you don't protect your nation. The Independent said car driven into pedestrians in Germany. There were, I think, 20 some odd that were injured. There was at least one fatality. No, it was not a car that drove into people. It was a deranged person with an ideology that used the car to plow into them. Language matters, and they want to make, and that's when you know it was an Islamic extremist that did it. Because if it had been a white dude, if it had been anybody else, if it had been anything else, they would have said that. But no, when they say a car,
I love the potential
German terror attack. Death toll rises to 2. Horrific. This is what happens when you don't protect your borders. This is what happens when you don't vet the people who are coming in. Now, there's crazy people everywhere in every culture, every color, every nation, every state of the world. I understand that. But we're seeing these things. They happen. My issue that I had with this was when these headlines, and this wasn't the only one. There's another one. Oh, this is the same one. Car driven into pedestrians. No, car didn't do its own driving. Guns don't do their own shooting.
As, gun violence. A gun getting up and going and shooting people.
Well, let me tell you. I slept with one right next to my head last night, Todd.
Never went off.
I had a 9mm P365, and it did not do a thing to me while I slept.
Yeah, imagine that.
I had an MK45 on the other Smith & Wesson on the other side of me. I'm within arm's reach at all times. So I had one. It was like I woke up this morning. I was like, I was under the bed. It didn't do anything. It didn't fondle me. It didn't grab me by the. It didn't do a thing to me. I had no good times with the P365. SIG needs to make a better gun. That's all I'm going to say.
It's time for Germany to start banning BMW.
Which again was founded by Nazis. Trump is making an announcement right now. I think that's about the chip thing. $100 billion chip maker investment.
Where's Royce when we need him?
$100 billion.
Where are they going to do that? Are they going to do that in Texas? Because everybody from California that used to make chips, they live here now.
Well, we got to get off of this.
You heard about Honda, right? Honda said, hell no, we're making Civics in America now. We don't want the tariffs. Honda's moving Civic production here.
Yeah.
Love it.
We got to get off of this Taiwanese dependence when it comes to chips. We got to get off of that. There's some things going on with the administration I don't like. So this spot right here where Trump is making this announcement, this is in the Roosevelt room. Just to his left arm, if you're watching, if you can see that, that's exactly the spot where I was sitting. Right there where he's standing is where Scott Pressler was sitting. The fact that anybody over that binder attacked sweet little innocent Scott Pressler. I mean, Scott Pressler is the sweetest, nicest, most congenial, clean-mouthed dude in terms of what he says. I don't know what he does with his mouth. But just the sweetest dude in the world. And I mean sweet like nice, not like sweet like I'm going to stop talking about Scott Pressler now, okay? But the fact that anybody attacked Scott Pressler because he got that binder, I mean, that binder thing just became the dumbest, dumbest thing. Did. People get trotted out in front of the whatever, the cameras, and you catch you, and it's like, okay, well, what do you want us to do? Lie about having it?
For a second, when I posted that picture of you with the binder over, just the cowboy hat, the only thing I could think of was Chad's trying not to get his photo taken, which reminded me of the movie Ace Ventura where he took the big leaf and walked by the thing. It's like Chad's walking around with that. Take the cowboy hat off, bro. We know who you are.
Yeah, to me, the Epstein thing is a solemn thing. It's a solemn thing. It's not something that needed to be paraded around and celebrated. I think that what the people who were celebrating were just celebrating the fact that they were being given something that the media wasn't being given, even though what we were given was really nothing. I knew that walking out the door, we were really kind of given nothing. That's why anything I posted did not say there was new revelation in there. So Trump is making the investment announcement right there. That's where we were. That's the room we were in, right through that door to over his left shoulder on the right side of the screen. That is the Oval Office. I'm an expert now. I know all about the West Wing.
Y'all are better than me. I'd have came out that building jumping and doing cartwheels like Anchorman. I would have been touching things in the Oval. Damn the binder. I would have met the president. I'd have touched the desk. I'd have came out crazy. So
let me say that there are a lot of, quote, influencers, and I hate that phrase, who spoke out publicly. They had to criticize everybody that was there that day. They had to criticize us like we were involved in some big, major, scandalous scheme, some strategy behind the scenes, some conspiracy. And I can't tell you how many of them have sent me a text personally, individually, and said, bro, we totally get it.
Dude, bro, we totally get it. I'd have been all over that place. The binder would have been in the trash, but I'd have been.
Yeah.
I want the binder. Chad won't give it to me.
Yeah. I like, Party Foul Steve, he goes, dude, can I take a picture of this and post it? I said, you probably shouldn't. I wouldn't recommend it.
I did.
You did. I was like, you probably shouldn't because there's really nothing in there. I'm
not scared to block anybody.
Yeah. I just wanted people to know I had it. And that at least there was I thought a gesture of good faith. I don't know that necessarily that's what it was, but I mean, within an hour, I was on Newsmax talking about how there was really nothing in it except for the FBI letter. Will there ever be anything? I have my doubts. And again, I know things about Jeffrey Epstein that most people don't know, because we did some deep investigative explorations years ago after he didn't hang himself. Things like And you know, people talking about Laura Loomer. I have no beef with Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer's going to be Laura Loomer. She's going to do her thing. I've been around
She's
Laura.
something else.
I mean, she'll go after you. Okay, that's not me though. That's not how I am. I don't believe in rallying a mob. I just don't. Like, you either build an audience or you build a mob. I don't know what Laura's done. That's not my business. I don't really pay attention to her. And so she can do however she wants to do.
And even if I did, I still wouldn't care. That's your business.
Yeah, I mean, in 2 more weeks, we're kicking off the Gulf of America tour, the Right Side of Comedy in Springfield for 3 nights, and the Don and Elon Surf Shop, Gulf of America. We're gonna be there. That's the kind of stuff I'm focused on: making people laugh, making people think, talking to them a little bit, hanging out. I don't mind telling people that I don't know everything. I don't know.
You still coming to Hattiesburg, right?
Yeah, we're coming to Hattiesburg. We got a lot going on, but you know, people don't realize that Jeffrey Epstein, like, he was an 8th grade substitute math teacher. This was not a brilliant guy. He let you know what he wanted you to know. He had the largest apartment in Manhattan. It was creepy. Like, he had like little encased eyeballs in the hallway as you came in. They were prosthetic eyeballs. They weren't real. They were prosthetic, like glass eyes, but he had them in there. And it was basically symbolically his way of saying, I'm watching you. If you're in my home, I'm watching you. And then he had, of course, those weird paintings of George W. Bush, Bill Clinton in the blue dress. There were a lot of things, a lot of weird stuff. He had a stuffed dog in there on top of the piano. It was a creepy place. And then you go out to the Zorro Ranch. Forget the island. You go to the Zorro Ranch that was really encapsulated there in the center of a property that was hard to get to. You could only get in there by air. And he had this idea that he wanted to bring in 20 virgins at a time and impregnate all of them. And basically, through a eugenic experiment, he wanted to start his own little world of Epsteins by procreating.
I had a similar dream once.
I bet you did. I bet you did. But that was that was a whole other cruise with a bunch of dudes, and you guys couldn't. So, there's a lot of crazy stuff that was out there. He was acquainted literally with everybody. So I want to know who the clients were. I want to know. Okay, tell me who they trafficked young girls to, and to the point where obviously Ghislaine Maxwell is spending the rest of her life in prison. Who'd they traffic them to? Somebody knows, or she would have never been convicted.
Her guts,
so she could stay alive, because they can get to you somewhere, somehow. They can get to you.
There has to come a point, though.
Speaking. All right, so Trump announces that major Taiwanese semiconductor manufacturer TSMC is investing $100 billion in the U.S. I mean, Trump's making us some money here. It's going to do it in Arizona. I heard that they're going to do it in Ohio as well. They're going to lots of high-paying jobs. Going to boost USA's AI role. And it combats, as I said earlier, Taiwan's monopoly on semiconductor market. You remember whenever COVID was going on, people go out and buy a new truck, and they didn't have like the electric thing to back your seat up, or the steering wheel thing, if you want to adjust your deal. You couldn't do it. You know why? Because there were no chips. We couldn't get the chips from Taiwan. Matter of economic and national security. Trump says we have more companies that want to announce investments. Fantastic. This is what I like. This is what I like. Speaking of crazy people that should be in prison, crazy women. Of all people, Casey Anthony has reemerged. I mean, Casey Anthony, she somehow walked. We all know what Casey Anthony did. The weirdest thing, and we won't play the clip, she's apparently coming out and redefining herself as a prominent LGBTQ and women's rights advocate. This is a person who was on trial for murdering her daughter while she was out partying. Even her own family came out against her. She was guilty, dead to rights, and walked. The weirdest thing, Todd and Steve, the weirdest thing that she says in that 3.5-minute video is she says, "You're just going to have to get comfortable with me in my car."
Yeah, no.
That's how she killed her child, locking him in the trunk.
Man, she put duct tape around her kid's head.
Is she
I want to put some
is
duct
she
tape around her
sponsored
face right now.
By Gorilla Tape or duct tape or whatever?
I mean, the fact that this person is reemerging and trying to redefine themselves. You don't get to redefine yourself.
Hey, go back up to that picture I heard, Dave. You gonna tell me that's innocent? That's a face of innocence, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's
the smirk.
that is a demon right there.
Yeah, after your child has died, scroll back down to her beautiful daughter.
I want to know who's
tragedy.
producing this docuseries. Who's paying for that? Somebody is paying for that.
Somebody is. Somebody is.
And people will watch it, and it'll make
What?
money.
What if this became like the whole what was that murder miniseries that came out?
Murder in the Building.
No, the murder about the true story where they were telling the documentary side of it, and they actually discovered more evidence because of it. You remember that?
Yeah, that was the whole
making of a murder.
Making a murder.
Making a murder, making of a murder, something like that. Wouldn't it be something if she came out and spilled some stuff that suddenly reopened the case?
Lord, let it happen.
Absolutely.
I mean, you start
that would be good.
You start running your mouth a little too much, and you're letting some stuff spill. Because she says in that little video, she says, "I'm not here trying to justify what I did or didn't do or my parents did and said, but although I may do that some as we go forward, and I try to redefine myself." So
Yeah, please. Forget all the lies you told under oath. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, see, you forgot your place in history. You were supposed to disappear forever. And now you're reemerging? I think not. So, you know what? God sees, man. And God sees. And as the book of Numbers says, be sure your sins will find you out. My buddy Brandon Gill, congressman from Texas, he has proposed a bill for Trump to be on the $100 bill. What do you think, boys? Look at that.
I thought it was a $250 bill.
Well, that doesn't exist. They were talking about making one for that, printing off one. But I mean, what? This is.
Oh, leave the 100 like it is. I want the 250.
And I would rather have his mugshot photo than that one. I want the mugshot photo on a $500 bill.
That image looks a little too clean. That looks a little too photoshopped right there. But notice at the top of it, it says, "In Trump we trust." But this is obviously a fake one. This is a satire deal. This image, I think, if Brandon truly did introduce the bill, this is not a true image of what they're proposing. This was a prank deal.
There is a 250. I saw an image of the $250 bill. And it was a good looking bill.
Yeah. When do I get some currency? Party foul, Steve, that'd be the kind of thing you would want. And what's funny is Steve wouldn't dye his beard. He would just sit back in that pose right there. He'd be wearing his Houston Texans hat.
And I ain't mad at him, buddy.
You get what you get right here. Hey, no, that's not. I saw a different one than that, but that's pretty funny too.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it needs to be the mugshot. It needs to be the mugshot. Or as somebody in the chat said, make a $45 and a $47 bill. I like it.
I should wear my mugshot. There it is. No, that's a different one. I should wear my mugshot T-shirt.
Love it.
Yeah. All right, guys, what are your, let's see, let's catch up with the chat here just a little bit. Go to watchchad.com. That's where all the fun stuff is. We do have some dates coming up. In 2 weeks, I'll be in Springfield, Ohio, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, 5 shows in 3 nights. We're kicking off. We told them, we said, you know what, we want to kick off the Gulf of America, that right side of comedy with Jesse Payton and me. We want to kick it off there in Springfield, Missouri. So get your tickets and come over there and hang out with us. And we got a lot of dates coming up. A lot of dates. So I'm looking forward to it.
Bring it on.
I hope everybody had a good Texas Independence Day. We celebrated that yesterday. We looked for crawfish everywhere, man. You know, Montgomery County, Texas, where I live, is a huge crawfish culture. We have our crawfish. We love crawfish here. And they do a dadgum good job of it. But I will say, every place we went yesterday had run out. Yeah.
And you got to get there early around here.
Yeah. Fort Smith, we're working on coming back to Fort Smith.
Grocery store parking lot. HEB does.
It's good stuff. You like crawfish, Todd?
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I make, I'm a soup fanatic. I am a soup fanatic. I do make the best gumbo. I put it up against anybody's.
I don't know now. Kendra might take a run for your money, Slick.
Well, I would love to eat Kendra's gumbo.
I'm checking the comment section now. What's going on?
I would love to eat Kendra's gumbo.
It's good, man.
Yeah, I'm telling you imperfectly, Angie. I ain't lying. It's the truth.
I know. I love some crawfish now. I
Hey,
eat
you
by
know
the
what? Let me make
pound.
sure. You know what, dadgummit? Let me make sure. Let me make sure I'm telling you guys wrong on the Springfield thing.
I was going to say, are you telling wrong dates?
No, I'm in Springfield, Missouri. Springfield, Missouri. So I might have said Ohio. If I did, I apologize. I'm in Springfield, Missouri. And then I'm going to Hayes, Kansas, which I think is sold out. I'm going to Sharon Springs, Kansas, which is already sold out. Conroe is a music show, Texas. Arlington, Texas at the Arlington Music Hall. Get your tickets there. Jefferson, Louisiana. That's New Orleans. Hattiesburg. Panama City, Florida. These are all Gulf of America deal. Then Raleigh, North Carolina, Marion, Virginia,
Ooh,
Gatlinburg,
you're going to
Tennessee.
Raleigh?
Yeah.
Oh, you got some cojones.
I like Raleigh. I know what it's become.
Yeah.
I know what it's become. One of my favorite girlfriends was in Raleigh. I used to enjoy visiting Raleigh.
If they go through the steps to buy tickets, they're coming to see Chad. So that's all.
No, that's true. Yeah, especially in Raleigh.
I mean, you never know. People get mad because I made a post of having a notebook that the Attorney General of the United States gave me. People are like, oh my God, he posted about it. Well, I mean, anybody, that's what you're supposed to do, right? So
That's kind of what we do for a living. Hello.
yeah, I mean, hello. It's like I told Stu Peters. Anyway, I'm not get in all that. You can whatever. What do we got in the super chat, boys? Let's do this thing. Get out of here. Get out of everybody's hair. What do we got? Anything? Do KBB. Chick 91. Hey, Chad, been listening for a while to you and DA. I'm so glad y'all are on one network. Just wanted to say hi. Waves from Texas. Love your show. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be a part of it too, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Caddy Highlander, I saw a video where Zelenskyy said America will put sons and daughters into this war. I don't think so. Yeah, we played that this morning on Dear America. I don't think so either. Todd, you're
gonna hear it again at about 3 p.m. Central Time, 4 p.m. Eastern, because we're gonna talk about the GOAT, and that is the greatest grifter of all time here in Zelenskyy.
Can I just say that for our Gulf of America tour, the acronym for that is GOAT, Donald Trump. Jody Hart, Chad and Todd, I bought each of your shirts on Red Pill Threads this weekend. I cannot wait to wear them. Chad and Todd in Miami is difficult to knock on doors to speak with reps and senators. Their aides do not follow through. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah. You just got to keep slapping them. But you're right. You're right about that. They don't follow through. Therefore, I need a meeting with my mayor. All they have is a portal and email for scheduling. I mentioned visual issues. They stated the only way to make an appointment. They do not think of the elderly. I'm not allowed to go and sit in her office or even my city mayor. Therefore, what do you suggest? My issue is very important. It affects others too. It's time to alert the media. It's time to start talking that up, exposing some people. Use your social media if you have it, but it's time to talk that thing up and give a little shout out to whatever Channel 6 is over there. Don't apologize for the chats, and you don't have to. You don't have to give that much money each time either. Apologize for so many chats. The amount of letters on here are limited. Please keep with the biblical teaching. Hi, Party F.
Hey,
Party F.
I love the love.
Love. Ed Brown 70 ban all assault cars now. I got a couple of them in my driveway. They've never done anything to anybody either, though.
Not yet.
Awaken all day. Here's some currency, Chad. Not much, but can buy yourself a beer. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I was supposed to be on News Nation tonight. I think they're rescheduling me. I'm okay with that. I'm all talked out. I don't think people are supposed to talk as much as we do. Not men, anyway, but we do. We talk a lot.
Man, Lord have mercy.
I love it. I want you guys to please subscribe. I think we've gained a few thousand new followers over on my Rumble page. I look at there's an app out there called Social Blade that you can put your social media in, and it'll tell you like your growth if you have a YouTube channel or your Twitter or your X or your Instagram. My YouTube, Todd, is deadline. I mean, like no one has joined it. We are so throttled. That's why my whole purpose when I asked J.D. Vance, I said, what does the administration plan to do about social media? They're still throttling us. And Trump said, we're going to fix it. And I said, better fix it.
Well, I'm not on YouTube for that very reason.
I can help you out there, Chad. You need to get on there and read the Epstein book each night 15 minutes on YouTube. Just
There's
open it,
nothing to
start with
read. I mean,
page
unless
one.
you want to hear boring, boring
just for all
flight
the-
logs.
for
You'd
all
be
the black
surprised the
lines,
number
just
of
go,
people.
And Trump is on. And listen, in fair communication, Trump and Marla Maples and Tiffany Trump are on the flight logs. Not to the island, but they are on the flight logs. That's not new news, though. Just because they're on there doesn't mean they're pedophiles or anything like that. So anyway.
Yeah, don't tell the left that, because that's all they care about.
They go crazy. But I mean, in all fairness, and the Trumps, all of them are in the black books. They're in the black books. They had a lot of acquaintances. So, yeah. But people said, "You're done, dude. You've lost all credibility," because I made a post about this thing. I'm like, really? I lost all credibility?
What?
I gained like 8,000 new followers on X. I don't think we lost anything, but all the 58 follower chirpers on there that want to tell me what a horrible human being I am. I mean, if that's what people who know me, they tend to think I'm doing an okay job of just being transparent with things. But I promise you, I'm not trying to hide anything from anybody.
I've only known you for a few months, and I love you like a play cousin.
Yeah, boy. Well, sometimes we play doctor too.
That's right.
You got another super
Josborn.
chat in there.
Josborn08 said, "Thanks for the prayers this morning for my nephew, Leo. He is already doing much better. Answered prayers." Well, we do believe in answered prayers. Man.
Absolutely.
And this is my prayer on Facebook. It was a little late getting out there, but I'm praying for boldness, man. I want us to be bold in these days. We got to be. There's a lot going on in this world, man, and we can't be operating in fear, and we got to be we got to have boldness. We really do. Because there's some, I see what Kendra said. She said, "Buy us a plane ticket. I'll get y'all out of the hurricane."
For real.
Get y'all out of the hurricane. I will say that tomorrow night, Lord willing, we will be here. We're here tomorrow morning for Dear America, and then my show, and then, of course, we'll be back in the evening around Mega Moo time, and we will live stream the State of the Union, and we will have some live reactions about it. We'll actually let you listen to it.
Yeah, and you'll even have a couple of the new guys in I Came With Fire. They'll join us for a little while as well. We'll just have a big Dear America party.
Amen. Amen. All right, guys. Any final words, boys?
I'll see you in 58 minutes.
All right.
I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, guys. Listen, I love y'all so much. Go to watchchad.com. You can check us out at redpillchad.com. My Weaponized Common Sense shirt is on there. Go check it out. Todd's got his site over there as well. Go over to check out his hot seat over at redpillthreads.com/hot seat. Fun stuff. You can get that shirt he was wearing, that Don and Elon. I like it. All right, guys. Anyway, I'm going to shut up because I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I love you guys so much. Share this episode. Make sure you go where podcasts are offered. That's the audio streaming deal. Leave me a 5-star rating and review and listen to it. Listen to it, because it drives the show further up the charts, okay, in news commentary. I appreciate you guys so much. We love you. Talk to you tomorrow morning on Dear America. We'll see you there. Bye.